On the back side of your 1.4 notes, we are going to talk about the angle addition postulate. Okay? The angle addition postulate works the same way as the segment addition postulate did for line segments. Okay? And just as a review here quick, if I look at a line segment, let's name that FP and B. So if I have line segment FP and I have line segment PB, then the segment addition postulate allows me to say that FP plus PB equals FB. Okay? The two smaller segments added together gives us the big segment. That's what the segment addition postulate allows us to do. Well, the same thing goes for the angle addition postulate. It is saying that we have to have two adjacent angles. Now, adjacent for angles means that they share a side, meaning they share a ray. So the shaded angle in gold and the shaded angle in blue are adjacent angles because they share that ray OB. Okay? So we have two adjacent angles, and so therefore if we add the two small angles together, it'll give us the measure of the big angle. Okay, that's all the angle addition postulate says for us. And so we're able to say that the measure of angle AOB, so AOB, that's this angle now in red, and the measure of angle BOC, so there's B, O, and C, so this angle in blue, if I add those two angles together, I get the measure of angle AOC, which is the big angle, both of those together. Okay? That is what our angle addition postulate is telling us we can do. Okay, well, a key part of this then is making sure that you understand the equation that you can write. Okay? So off to the side here, I'm just going to do a quick example. What if I have something like this, and we'll just call this A, B, C, and D. And let's say that this is a 90-degree angle, and let's call that a 45-degree angle. So if I know that information, and I want to find the measure of angle ABC, okay? Now, the key thing is if you're looking for the measure of angle ABC, which is the large angle here, many of you are just going to know, oh yeah, just add those two together. And you're going to try to give me the answer, which is 135. Okay. Please refrain from just giving me the answer. You have to practice writing the equation and using that equation. Please trust me. I've got the map. I know what's coming up. Okay? So take a moment, take that extra 30 seconds it takes to write it down, write down the equation, show the steps. So, in this situation, if we want to add those two angles together, we're using the angle addition postulate. So that means that the measure of angle ABD, which by the way, that is this angle here, the measure of angle ABD plus the measure of angle DBC, that's this angle here, add together and give me the measure of angle ABC. Okay, that's our angle addition postulate. We've got to know how to write that equation down. So at the next step, now we can start plugging stuff in. Now I can say that the measure of angle ABD is 90 degrees, and the measure of angle DBC is 45 degrees. But here's a step that people get confused on. Because again, you're trying to quickly jump to the answer rather than showing that work. And so they go through and say, all right, so this is 90 plus 145, and so then they write 135 right here. That is not actually how we should be showing our work. If we're solving for the measure of angle ABC, that is like our variable. We're solving for our variable. And so you got to keep your variable in your equation, right? So I should be writing the measure of angle ABC here. And then showing my work On the left side, I add 90 plus 45. And then on the right side is what I'm solving for. So that is how I would show my work to find the measure of angle ABC. Okay? Questions on that? All right, let's take a look at this group of examples here. So again, we have to know our notation. We have to know what they're asking us to do. So if you look at number 1, first question for you is this asking about a number or a thing? It's a thing. How do you know? Okay, first off, because congruence only compares things, not numbers. And there's no M out in front saying that we're talking about the measure of that angle, right? So we're actually talking about the physical angle itself. And we're talking about angle FXG. So if you're uncertain where that angle is, please use your pencil or something and just kind of plot those points. Where's angle F? Right there. Point F. Where's point X? Right there. And where's point G? Right there. And so you can now narrow down exactly what angle they're talking about. Remember that the middle point is always the vertex of the angle. So this is angle FXG. Okay? Well, that angle, notice it's marked congruent to something else. Yeah. Do we all see that mark somewhere else? Yes, we do. And what's the name of that angle then? Sure, IXJ. Could you have named it differently? JXI would have been as well, good as well. So we have angle IXJ. Okay, very good. Let's see. Part 2. Are we talking about a thing or a number? A number now. We want a number. Again, 2 reasons for that. 1, hey, there's an equal sign. And 2, the little M out in front says the measure of that angle, right? So the measure of angle GXH. Well, the first things first, we need to find out where is angle GXH. So I see G, I see X, I see H. So we're talking about this angle up here. So looking at that angle, we got to somehow find its measure. Well, what else do we know? We didn't actually read the problem yet. We know the measure of angle FXH equals what? 130 degrees. And so FXH, I'm going to outline that one quick. That is this angle, FXH. Okay, so that's a big angle. Inside of that angle, there are 2 smaller angles. One of them we're looking for. Do we know anything about the other one?
Yes. 49 degrees.
Right. Angle FXG is 49 degrees. Now again, don't just jump to the math and say, oh, Mr. Bobier, you're just going to take 130 minus 49. You're right, but we got to know how to show the work. We got to know how to use the angle addition postulate to get there. Okay? So again, we are going to set up our angle addition postulate. This takes a little bit of space, so I apologize. I didn't give you much room there. Be careful. Don't write below this. Okay, those 4 problems, we need to be able to work those 4 problems. So squeeze this in somewhere. I apologize. I didn't give you a lot of space. But we have the measure of angle FXG. I'm having a hard time speaking today. FXG plus the measure of angle GXH is going to equal the measure of angle FXH. FXH. And we can plug in what we know. We know that the measure of angle FXG is 49 degrees. We're looking for the measure of angle GXH. And we know the measure of angle FXH is 130 degrees. And so now we're solving an equation for that angle measure. And of course, to answer that equation or to solve that equation, we're going to subtract 49 degrees from both sides, which is exactly what you guys would have told me to do, right? That's what many of you were thinking to do from the beginning. Take 130 minus 49. Well, now we actually showed the work for it using the angle addition postulate. And what do we get for the measure of angle GXH?
81.
81 degrees. Very good. Okay. Questions on example 2? All right, looking at example 3. Straight angle. That is a definition from Friday. It's on the front side of your notes if you don't remember what a straight angle is. What's really another name for a straight angle? A line, exactly. But they are asking for a straight angle, so therefore we can't name it like a line. We have to name it like an angle. Okay? So we're looking for lines. There are actually 2 lines in this diagram, so therefore we could name 2 different straight angles. Anybody name one of them for me? FXI. That is a perfect one. That would be this line here. So there's a line, therefore it's a straight angle. You need to have 3 points on that line to be able to name it like an angle, and you did a great job of it. So it is angle FXI. So X would be the vertex of that angle. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Gxj would be our other one. Perfect. So that is then this line. It has 3 points. X is in the middle, so that has to be our vertex. So that is angle Gxi. Very good. Do you guys happen to remember the measure of a straight angle?
180.
Oh, dang it. I did write that wrong. Good save. Good save. Do you guys remember the measure of straight angles?
180.
Go ahead. Shut up. 180. Yep. 180 degrees is the measure of a straight angle. Okay. And our last question up here is angle IXJ is congruent to what? GXF. Or you could have just repeated the answer from number 1. They're asking the same thing. Angle GXF. They are both marked congruent. All right. Your assignment for me today then is going to be these 4 problems on your notes. But before I let you loose on those, I'm actually going to help you out by setting up the first one for you or with you. Okay? So let's take a look at our first one. Okay? Let's take a look at the first one. So the information given to us, we know the measure of angle RQT. Which angle is angle RQT? Is it the angle on the left, the angle on the right, or the whole big angle? The whole big angle. Excellent. And we want to find what is the measure of angle RQS. Which angle is that? The one on the left. And we want to find the measure of angle TQS. Which angle is that? The one on the right. Okay? So to set this up, again, the idea is that we have 2 angles that are adjacent. We know they're adjacent because they share this ray, QS. Right? They share that as a side of their angles. And we can say that then the angle on the left plus the angle on the right is going to equal the measure of the entire angle RQT. Okay? So conceptually, I think many of you understand that, but we got to remember how to write it. We have to use proper notation to write it down. So we say the measure of the angle on the left, just got to start somewhere. So that is RQS, the measure of angle RQS, plus the measure of the angle on the right, which is angle TQS. That is going to equal the measure of the entire angle, which is angle RQT. That right there is using this angle addition postulate. Now we can substitute in what we know. Do we know anything about the measure of angle RQS? It's 4x minus 20. So we can go ahead and plug that in to our equation. Do we know the measure of angle TQS? 3x plus 14. Do we know anything about the measure of angle RQT? 155 degrees. So please remember, this is where the equal sign is. And so if you're going to solve this equation, what do we need to do first? Combine like terms. Do not start trying to subtract stuff across the equal sign. We need to combine like terms first. 4x plus 3x is 7x. Negative 20 plus 14. What do we get? Negative 6. And that then equals 155 degrees. So, from here, you need to solve for x, right? And then, do they ask you to solve for x? Is that what the answer they want? No. They want you to actually say the measure of those two angles. So how are you going to find that? You're going to solve for x, but then how are you going to find the measure of the angles? You're going to take that value of x, absolutely, whatever value of x you find here, and you're going to plug it in for your angles. And again, please write properly. We are looking for the measure of angle RQS. And so please write it that way. Okay?